What shall we say then? That the law is sin? By no means. And so why would Paul ask that question? Is the law sin? The reason he asked that question is because he just said that the law aroused sin. It stirred up sin in us. When we're in the flesh and we had the sinful nature, when the law came, when our conscience came, or even when the 10 Commandments came and said, don't do this, don't do this, do this, do this, sin inside of us was stirred up. And sin was rebelling against the law and saying, no, I want to do this. You need to do this. And it was leading us into sin. And so Paul has to ask, is the law sinful? And he answers, of course not. No way. By no means. The law isn't sinful. It's us who are sinful. And so he goes on, he says, what shall we say then, that the law is sin? By no means. Yet if it had not been for the law, I would have not known sin. So he's still talking about himself when he was in the flesh, before he was saved, while he was in Adam. He was saying in that state, he wouldn't have known what sin was except for the law. He says, for I would not have known what it is to covet if the law had not said, you shall not covet. Without the law, we don't know what sin is. We don't know if we've been sinful. But when the law comes, the law written on stone, and it says, don't do this, we know that if we do it, then that's sinful. But also the law written on our conscience. Our conscience actually tells us what is good and what is bad. And so we see our neighbor's wife and we think, wow, she's beautiful. I want her. And the law says, no, do not covet. And even your conscience is saying, no, it's wrong to go and just have your neighbor's wife. That's going to cause destruction. That is sinful. That is wrong. Now, if we didn't have the law of God written on stone or written on our conscience, we wouldn't know that that's wrong. We would think, hey, that's fine to just go and take your neighbor's wife. But because we've got the law and we've got our conscience saying, no, that is wrong, then actually that law is revealing sin in us. Because we notice these desires in us. Oh, I want to go and take my neighbor's wife. Sin is lust, sin inside of us is causing us to desire and to want to go and do that. And then that sin is coming up against our conscience. It's coming up against the law. The law is pushing back against our sinful nature. And it's showing us that what we're doing or wanting to do is sinful. And so Paul says, I would not have known what sin was except for the law. And Romans chapter 3, verse 19 says that the purpose of the law was to reveal sin. And so that is what Paul is affirming here, that the purpose of the law was to show him what sin was. It's so that he could become aware of sin in his own life. Because while everyone is under the law, they're actually under condemnation and they're going to be judged. And if you don't think that you're a sinner and you think that you're fine, you're in danger. And so everyone actually needs the law to actually come and show and reveal their sin and actually to show us we need a savior.